Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Gather close and listen well, because tonight we're drifting into a tale drenched in old world shadows, where saints and monsters blur and ancient stone keeps secrets long past the time of men. In the heart of medieval France, in a city once choking on fear and flood, a creature with wings like sails and a voice like thunder reigned from the riverbanks. It's from this beast that some say gargoyles were born, not as art, but as warnings. This is the story of the Gargoyle, the dragon of Rouen. Long before tourists strolled the cobbled streets of Rouen, before the grand cathedral pierced the sky, the city was a damp and desperate place. Mist clung to the Seine like a ghost too weary to leave, and in that chill of dawn, fishermen swore they heard something move beneath the water. Something big. They spoke in hushed tones of the Gargoyle. It wasn't just a dragon. No, it was worse than that. This was a beast shaped by nightmares and carved by the elements. Taller than a house, its body was covered in scales like stone, wings vast and leathery, like the sails of a warship. Smoke coiled from its nostrils, its eyes burned gold in the fog, and its maw could swallow a man whole. But most terrifying of all was its breath. Some said it was fire, others said it was poison, but the worst was the water. Whenever the beast emerged, rain followed. Thunder cracked the sky like a whip, and the river swelled until it devoured farmland, homes, and livestock. Entire families vanished beneath the waves. Flooding became so frequent that townsfolk whispered the creature was summoning the waters, commanding the Seine to rise and punish them. And what made it worse, the gargoyle didn't just kill, it collected. Children who ventured too close to the riverbank disappeared without a scream. Herds of sheep vanished in the night, with only hoofprints leading them down to the water. At first, people thought it was bandits, wolves maybe. But then came the fishermen who saw it, wings spread wide, gliding over the river like death given form. They offered sacrifices, goats, chickens, anything they could spare, but the beast always wanted more. Fear ruled Rouen. That is, until the arrival of a man named Romanus. Romanus wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even a nobleman. He was a monk, recently appointed bishop by royal decree, a holy man who walked into town suffering under centuries of fear. He didn't look like much, thin, cloaked in rough wool, with soft hands and kind eyes. But he listened. He walked the banks of the Seine. He spoke to the elderly who remembered the first attacks, and to children too afraid to play near the water. The elders begged him to leave. You can't reason with the gargoyle, they warned. You can't even look it in the eye without losing your soul. But Romanus didn't flinch. One morning, after 3 nights of fasting and prayer, he stood in the cathedral square and announced, "I will tame the beast." The people jeered. Some cried. They'd lost entire families to the creature. How could a man, even one of God, armed with nothing but scripture and a walking stick, hope to defeat it? And then he asked for a volunteer. He was met with silence. Finally, a single man stepped forward. Some say he was a condemned criminal offered a pardon. Others say he was just a madman. But in every telling, the two of them, Romanus and his strange companion, disappeared into the river's mist. They found the gargoyle in the marshes beyond the city, nestled amongst the reeds and the dead trees, where the earth bled black and the air stank of rot. The beast emerged like a storm cloud made flesh, its wings unfolding with the sound of splitting wood, and made its way towards the decoy. The volunteer froze in fear. Romanus did not. He emerged from his hiding place and raised a simple wooden cross. The beast lunged. What happened next lived somewhere between miracle and madness. The air split with the sound of thunder, but no lightning followed. The beast reared back, not from fire or sword, but from the power of the cross itself. Romanus began whispering prayers, and the creature, this horror of Rouen, bowed its head. He did not kill it. That part is important. He tamed it. At Romanus' instruction, the volunteer used a simple rope and leashed the gargoyle before handing it to Romanus, who marched it back into the city. It did not resist. It lumbered behind them like a broken thing, wings dragging in the mud. The people watched in awe as the beast that had hunted generations now followed the man like a lamb. But there was still fear, still suspicion. They would not let it live. Romanus led the beast to the field outside the city. There he commanded the townsfolk to build a great pyre. The gargoyle was burned. Its body turned to ash, but its head, that stone-like skull with a fanged grin, would not burn. Not even the hottest flame could touch it. So Romanus mounted it on a city wall as a warning to other beasts, and perhaps to remind the people themselves. Time passed, and then something strange began to happen. Other cathedrals in other cities, Paris, Dijon, Reims, they began carving their own monsters, grotesque stone faces jutting from rooftops, snarling down at the streets below. At first they were said to ward off evil, to protect, but some scholars whisper something darker, that these stone beasts aren't statues at all, that what Romanus did wasn't salvation, but containment. Some say the head of the gargoyle still watches over Rouen, not as a trophy, but as a seal, a lock, that its soul, or something close to it, remained trapped in that unburnable skull, waiting. And the more gargoyles that rise across the world, the more pieces of its essence stretch into the stone. Ever wonder why gargoyles always look like they're watching? Maybe they are. Maybe one day they'll stop watching and start moving again. As we leave you here, standing beneath the stony gaze of creatures once thought to guard us, ask yourself, what do we really know about the beasts carved into our buildings? What if they're not symbols of safety, but echoes of something ancient waiting to be remembered? The legend of the gargoyle reminds us that even the oldest myths might still breathe beneath the surface, or slumber in stone. If this tale sent a chill down your spine, please share, like, and subscribe to Our Weird World. Your support keeps the stories alive and the darkness at bay. Until next time, keep your eyes on the rooftops, and remember, not all monsters burn. Some endure in stone, watching and waiting.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.